Hello everyone, Terry here with another League of Legends guide, and today we'll be talking about the newest champion, Yasuo. He can be played in a mid or top lane. He's an assassin with a lot of mobility, with some utility, and very high damage output. I've been playing him whenever possible the past week on my main and Smurf account, and have had a lot of success with this build and won about 80% of my games. And my reasoning behind this is that I didn't buy Static Shift, and most of the Yasuos I've seen and played against have been buying Static Shift, which makes me very sad. But I'll explain why this is wrong a bit later on in this guide. I will also not go into detail over his abilities. I would advise you to watch the Champion Spotlight by Riot Games, because they explain every ability in detail there, and you will also see if his playstyle fits you in Freak's video, so please watch that. I just don't want this video to be too long, since most of my guides just tends to drag out. And yeah, but in short, if you enjoy playing Zed, you'll probably enjoy Yasuo too. At least that was the case for me, and Yasuo is my favorite champion at the moment. I'm going to put it out right now. Haven't had this much fun with a champion since Zed, and I've been playing him non-stop. Alright, so let's get into runes and masteries now. I have two very standard rune pages for Yasuo. Number one is a lifesteal one with 80 marks, armor seals, magic resistance glyphs, 2 lifesteal quints and 1 80 quint. This is a very safe rune page for laning phase, since you will have the additional sustain, and your Q will also apply lifesteal and heal you, so this is very good if you're still learning him and want to have a safer laning phase. If you feel that you've got enough practice with him, you can also try out the armor pen one, which includes armor pen marks, armor seals, magic resistance glyphs, and 3 80 quints. Very standard rune pages, you'll probably have both of those, and I've had most of my success with these two. Just try out which one works best for you. That's the rule here. Alright, for masteries, I'm going 21-9-0. I feel like Yasuo really needs the offensive masteries to deal more damage, since that's what he relies on and that's what he's best at. In the end, I didn't really like the defensive ones on him, to be honest. I would always go with 21-9-0. I used the same mastery page for him and Zed, since they are different but also similar in a lot of aspects. For abilities, you want to max Q first, then your E, and then your W, and of course take your ultimate whenever possible. I'll go into some tips and tricks for him in the section after the items. So talking about items, let's get that covered right here. So, as I said before, most of the Yasuos I've been playing against have been rushing Static Shift. This is not a good idea. I'm not saying that the item isn't good on him, I'm just saying that rushing Static Shift is not a good idea on Yasuo. There's a bit of difference there. I feel like too many people rely on his passive, which doubles your crit chance, and they think this is super amazing and is the thing that Yasuo should rely on, which in my opinion is wrong. But that's just how I think and how I feel about it, but I'll talk about it later on, as I said. For items, we're gonna start with Doran's Blade or a Doran Shield, depending on how safe you feel. If you want a safe start, of course, go for a Doran Shield. If you feel like you want to go a bit more aggressive, just go with a Doran's Blade. And of course the health pot and your trinket, don't forget that. Next up, we're gonna rush a Ravenous Hydra. This item is perfect for Yasuo, since it gives you damage, lifesteal, and whenever you use your Q will apply Onhit effects. This means your active of Ravenous Hydra will also be applied, but you'll still be able to use your active with the hotkeys. So you get twice the damage, and you will also get a lot of healing done just by using your Q on a minion wave, since the AoE damage, lifesteal, works out. So it's great for dueling, and it's exactly what Yasuo needs in my opinion, since he takes some time to get rolling in team fights by stacking his Q. So that's the first item I'm getting, and I've had a lot of success with this, so try it out. Next up, I'm gonna get a Boots of Speed. and probably build them out into a Ninja Tabi or Merc Treads, depending on the enemy team, of course. If they're AD heavy, go for Ninja Tabi. If they are magic damage heavy, just go with Merc Treads, or if they have a lot of CC. My next item is going to be a Sheen, which I will then build out into a Triforce. Why Triforce, you ask? So, Triforce and Sheen. As I said before, your Q applies Onhit effects. What this means is that whenever you use your Q, the Sheen proc will also be applied, which is an incredible amount of damage, since your Q just works like an auto attack. But after you've used your Q, you can quickly dash in with your E and auto attack. What this means is that you get off 2 Sheen procs, or later on 2 Triforce procs, in 1 second. You just use your Q and auto attack, and it's 2 Triforce or Sheen procs. So you get a lot of movement speed and hell of a lot of damage done in a very short time. So I've been going with this for these 15 games, as I said before, and had so much success and so much fun playing with this build. You get some tankiness done. Also, you get the seal in there with 10% crit chance, which turns into 20% crit chance, which is also amazing and makes use of his passive. And I feel like this is the way to go with him. Just try it out. Next up is I have to decide between 3 items. So first of all, if they're 80 carries fed, I'll most likely go for a Random's Omen to have some defense and to not die instantly when I jump onto them with my ultimate. Or if I'm fed, I'll most likely go for an Infinity Edge, since it works with your passive, and you get so much damage thanks to this. Your Q can crit too, so that's just incredible. And yeah, works on him. And if they get a lot of armor because they hate me, I will go for a Black Cleaver, since again, your Q applies the on-hit effect, which is awesome. So that's my basic build for Yasuo. Of course, there are a lot of items that work on him too, like Static Shift. It works, but I don't feel like it's necessary on him. Also, Hex Drinker would be a great item, or something like a Spirit Visage. That would work too if they have a lot of AP heavy champions. So play around with that, but this one is my basic build that I've been going for a lot of games, most of my games, and it's been working out great. So now that we have items covered, let's talk about some gameplay tips. Number 1, the most important thing about playing Yasuo is keeping track of your Q, because your third Q does the whirlwind, which enables you to knock up enemies and use your ultimate on them. So always keep track of how many stacks of your Q you have. It's very important to hit every single one of them, and as I said before, just always see the number at the bottom of your screen and know how many stacks you have, or just count in your head. That's what I do. For example, Malphite ult and stuff like that. Alright, tip number 3. Number 3, always keep an eye out for the timer around your enemies for your E ability. Because when you start playing Yasuo, you will probably find yourself just spamming the E button on a single enemy and you'll be wondering why you can't dash to them. So really keep track of that and try to look up for that circle, and if there's no enemy that you can dash to minion, dash to another minion, and dash to the enemy again once the cooldown's up. Tip number 4. Your basic harass combo will be E to the caster minions, Q your enemy, either with your single normal attack or with your EQ combo, and then dash back to the melee minions. With this you get some nice damage onto your enemy. You can also get in an auto attack, maybe, it might be possible, and you can also get out of the distance really quickly. So this is a fairly safe and standard harass combo. Number 5. Try to save your E for when your enemy uses their escape, flashes, or if you flash and you can't catch up to them, dash to a minion, dash to another minion, and then dash to your enemy. You will see this in a few clips here. What I mean by this is that I've seen a lot of Yasuo players who just spam their E whenever they can. Really try to use it effectively. Try to use other enemies to catch up to the AD carry, for example, and don't just use it because you feel like it. Use it because you want to catch up to them and you have no other means to do that. Because 10 seconds cooldown might be enough for your enemy to escape or get your engage. Tip number 6, and this might be the most important one, really watch out for the abilities which knock up your enemies. You really have to learn which champion abilities enable you to use your ultimate on an enemy AD carry, for example. Whether it's Vi ulti or Jarvan knockup, just watch out for that. That's one of the hardest parts of playing Yasuo. But when you get that down and you remember, okay, this one can knock him up, this one can do this one can do this, then you will be able to use him to much more potential. And since his ultimate has such long range, even if a tank engages onto the enemy AD carry and you're in the backline, you can instantly jump to them. And that's the crazy part about Yasuo. He has such a strong gap closer. His ultimate is amazing, and that's what people overlook about him, in my opinion. Number 7, use your passive shield to full extent. What I mean by this is that you can always trade whenever you know that your shield is up, because it will block a lot of damage. It's a very strong shield, and it's great for trading, especially early on, and just getting in more harass onto your enemy. Alright, here I want to analyze a very short teamfight clip from one of my games. So as you can see here, at the start of the fight, I stack my Q 2 times and run back so that I don't get hit by Vi ult or anything. And you can see I have my third stack, and I'm going to use it to knock up Thresh and Caitlyn. As soon as it hits, I'm going to engage onto Caitlyn, keep Thresh in place, dodge 2 times, dodge the W off Cassiopeia thanks to my E, flash onto Caitlyn so that I can get more auto attacks in, and then, of course, finish off Cassiopeia. So this is just an example for how a teamfight can go and how you should use his abilities. Alright, I think I've covered every part that I wanted to cover for this guide, and I'm curious to see if he's going to be played in the LCS. I don't think so, to be honest, because I feel like his ult might be a bit too unreliable for a competitive match. But we'll see about that. And again, the thing with static shift, just try this build out. I feel like it's much better than a static shift one. Stuff like static shift into Infinity Edge works on something like a Tryndamere, since he as a melee carry has an ultimate which makes him immortal for 6 seconds. And that's what Yasuo doesn't have. If you get caught with CC that the routine plays for 2 seconds, you will most likely blow up and die. If Tryndamere gets rooted for 2 seconds because of a stun or something, he will still have 4 seconds to kill their whole team with 2 crits in combination with static shift. So that's my reasoning behind my build. Try it out, see for yourself if it works. It worked great for me, and yep, he's a lot of fun to play. Go out there and try it out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, like the video, and if you want to see more guides and more content by me, feel free to subscribe. Thanks again, and see you next time.